It was just past midnight when a faint scratching echoed from the attic, a sound so peculiar that it made the hairs on Jenna's arms stand on end. The house was otherwise silent, but the scratching continued, rhythmic yet unpredictable, like something was pacing just out of sight. Even the old wooden beams seemed to creak in response, as if the house itself was uneasy. Outside the wind howled, but inside a deeper tension settled, pulling everyone into a quiet, watchful fear. What could be causing those strange sounds above? Was it just the house settling, or was something far more sinister lurking in the shadows? The answer, as Jenna soon realized, wasn't simple. It wasn't the house, and it wasn't a harmless critter. The sound was real, deliberate, and unmistakably connected to the life inside her home. Max, her German shepherd, stiffened instantly, ears pricked and tail rigid. He didn't bark, but his low growl vibrated through the floorboards. He was always sensitive to unusual sounds, but tonight there was something urgent in his stance that made Jenna's stomach knot. The scratching was louder now, almost as if it sensed it had been noticed. Jenna crept toward the stairs leading to the attic, Max following silently but closely, his eyes scanning every shadow. The scratching paused for a brief second, then resumed, sharper and more insistent. It was no longer random. It had a rhythm, almost like a message being tapped out. Every instinct screamed that whatever was up there wasn't supposed to be. Her husband, Tom, appeared behind her, rubbing his eyes and muttering about how the house was old and made strange noises all the time. But even he froze as Max let out a short, warning growl fixed on the attic door. The hairs on his neck stood up. There was no ignoring it now. Something or someone was up there. Jenna's mind raced. Could it be an animal trapped, or had someone broken in? The answers weren't comforting. A trapped animal could panic and cause harm, but a human intruder? That could be deadly. Max's behavior gave them clarity. The threat was real, and he was ready to act before anyone else could. They both stared at the attic door, the scratching resuming in a deliberate rhythm. Max's eyes never left the ceiling. He was tense, muscles coiled like springs. Jenna swallowed hard, realizing that the dog wasn't just alerting them. He was preparing them for something they couldn't yet see. This was no ordinary night and no ordinary noise. Every second stretched unbearably as the scratching intensified, echoing in the hollow attic space. Max stepped closer to the stairs, nose twitching, growl low but steady. The house felt alive, watching, listening, waiting with them. Jenna knew that whatever was up there had already noticed them, and Max, loyal and fearless, was already thinking 3 steps ahead. Max's paws padded silently up the narrow attic stairs, each step deliberate, ears twitching at every subtle sound. Jenna held her breath behind him, gripping the railing, while Tom's hand trembled slightly as he reached for the flashlight. The scratching paused momentarily, as if whatever was up there sensed the approach. Dust motes floated in the thin beam of light, stirred by Max's careful movements. The attic smelled of old wood and faint mildew, but beneath it, Jenna caught a scent that made her stomach tighten. Something metallic, sharp, and out of place. Max stopped midway and lowered his nose, sniffing the air, tail stiff. He looked back at Jenna, eyes demanding that she pay attention. The dog had sensed danger before they could even see it. Wood creaked under their weight as they ascended, each step amplifying the tension. A loose floorboard shifted slightly under Max's paw, revealing a small, jagged crack beneath. Max's ears swiveled toward a corner of the attic, the beam of the flashlight cutting through shadows that seemed to flicker unnaturally. Jenna noticed a faint smear on a wooden crate, dark and sticky, catching the light just enough to make her step back. The noise from before had shifted scratching, now mixed with a soft thump, slow and deliberate. The dog inched forward, muscles coiled, nose low to the ground, and a low growl escaped from his throat. Jenna's heart raced as she realized Max wasn't just investigating. He was anticipating. He knew something was hidden among the chaos, something that didn't belong in the quiet attic they thought they knew. Tom whispered, voice barely audible, "Do you think it's an animal?" Max didn't answer with sound, but barked once sharply at a corner. Jenna's pulse quickened. No animal moved in response, and the faint metallic scent grew stronger. Whatever had made that scratching had left more than marks. It had left a trace, a clue that only Max could detect. A loose floor panel shifted as Max nudged it with his nose, revealing a glimpse of something dark beneath. Jenna's eyes widened, realizing the dog had found a hidden corner of the attic. The shadows seemed to stretch unnaturally toward them, and every instinct screamed that the next moment would change everything they thought they understood about that night. Max paused, head tilted, ears alert. He wasn't barking yet, but his stance demanded caution. The scratching started again, closer this time, and the rhythmic pattern was unmistakable. Max was ready. Jenna's hand on the railing trembled, and Tom tightened his grip on the flashlight. Every heartbeat was drawn toward the unknown, waiting just beyond that beam of light. Max froze at the far corner of the attic, nose quivering as he sniffed the air with intense focus. Jenna followed his gaze, flashlight trembling in her hand. There, partially hidden behind an overturned trunk, was a small wooden crate sealed with tape. Something inside shifted slightly, as if aware of their presence. Max growled softly, his body rigid, and Jenna felt a chill crawl up her spine. Tom stepped closer, whispering, "Is it an animal?" Max barked sharply, then pawed at the crate insistently. Jenna's curiosity clashed with fear as she realized the crate wasn't empty. The thumping and scratching they had heard before now made sense. The movement was coming from inside. Something had been trapped here, hidden in darkness for who knew how long. Jenna crouched beside Max, gently placing her hand on the crate. The soft noises inside were unmistakable, whimpers, scratches, a faint scuffling. Max's growl deepened, warning them to proceed carefully. Tom hesitated, his flashlight casting long shadows across the attic. The crate shifted again, revealing glimpses of something alive, small, and trembling. The smell hit them next, damp, earthy, faintly metallic. It wasn't just fear. It was neglect, something forced into this dark space. Max sniffed around the edges, nudging it with precision, as if trying to communicate. "Be ready. This isn't ordinary." Jenna's mind raced. Could it be a stolen animal, or had someone cruelly abandoned a pet in this isolated place? With a firm but careful motion, Jenna pulled the crate's lid open slightly. Her breath caught. Inside was a young raccoon, its fur matted and eyes wide with terror. It flinched at the light, trembling violently. The thumping they had heard was the frantic heartbeat of a terrified creature, hidden and suffering, left behind by someone who shouldn't have been there. Max pressed closer, nosing the raccoon gently, tail wagging in a controlled, almost comforting rhythm. The dog didn't bark or growl now. He guided, reassured, and protected. Jenna watched as Max positioned himself between the raccoon and the attic doorway, ready to defend against any threat that might still linger in the shadows. Tom finally spoke, voice low. "Someone brought it here, or maybe left it on purpose," Jenna nodded, realizing the seriousness. The scratching, the noise, the odd scents, they all pointed to human interference. Max, sensing the danger, remained vigilant, every muscle tensed as though guarding against the return of the person responsible. The attic felt charged, silent yet expectant, Max standing firm, the raccoon cowering but safe under his watch. Jenna glanced at Tom, then back at Max, understanding that their night had turned into something far beyond a strange noise. Whatever had brought them here, Max had uncovered it first, revealing a hidden danger that no one could have predicted. Max's low growl deepened as a sudden noise came from the far corner of the attic, where shadows shifted unnaturally. Jenna and Tom froze, eyes wide. The raccoon flinched, pressed against Max's side, trusting him completely. The dog's stance was protective, unyielding, his gaze locked on the movement as if daring it to come closer. A figure emerged from behind a stack of boxes, an intruder, hunched, clutching a small metallic object. Max barked sharply, teeth bared, and lunged forward, placing himself between the intruder and the family. Jenna clutched Tom's arm, heart pounding, while Max circled, growling in a low, warning rhythm that left no doubt he was ready to act. The intruder froze, startled by Max's sudden aggression. Jenna whispered urgently, "Call the police," while Max advanced carefully, ears flat, eyes fixed. Every instinct in the dog screamed that this wasn't just trespassing. Something dangerous had been hidden in the attic, and Max would not allow it to continue. The intruder tried to move toward the raccoon, but Max blocked the path, teeth snapping inches away. The metallic object fell with a clatter, and the intruder staggered backward, fear finally overtaking their boldness. Jenna and Tom watched in disbelief, realizing the dog wasn't just defending. They were witnessing strategy, calculation, and courage all in one. Max barked again, long and commanding, drawing attention. The intruder stumbled toward the stairs, trying to escape, and Max stayed close, never letting a gap appear. Jenna could see the sweat on the person's forehead as Max's presence left no room for hesitation or confrontation. It was clear the dog controlled the situation entirely. Tom moved forward cautiously, keeping his hands visible, flashlight steady. Max allowed a small window, growling softly, signaling that it was safe for Tom to approach. Together, they cornered the intruder, who now raised their hands in surrender. The raccoon remained huddled behind Max, eyes wide but calm, fully trusting the dog's judgment. The tension in the attic remained thick, each heartbeat amplified by fear and relief intertwined. Max continued circling, never letting the intruder feel secure, every muscle poised to act if needed. Jenna's voice trembled as she said, "He saved us. He knows exactly what to do." The realization of how protective and intelligent Max was settled over them. Finally, the intruder backed toward the attic stairs, guided by Max's positioning and Jenna and Tom's presence. The police could arrive any second, and the raccoon was safe under Max's watchful eye. The family exhaled collectively, but the sense of danger still lingered in the shadows. a reminder that the dog's courage had turned a terrifying night into survival. The intruder stumbled down the attic stairs, hands raised, sweat dripping. But Jenna noticed something in the dim light, a small, unmarked envelope clutched tightly in their pocket. Max stayed close, growling low, his eyes locked on the object. It was clear that whatever had caused the noise was connected to more than trespassing. Something bigger was hidden in the shadows of the house. Tom moved carefully, flashlight aimed at the envelope, and the intruder hesitated. The rustle of paper inside it was audible, almost deliberate, as if it held secrets that needed protection. Jenna's stomach tightened as the thought crossed her mind. Could this envelope reveal evidence of a crime, or something else equally dangerous? Max's growl intensified, signaling the importance of the item. Before anyone could react further, Max nudged the envelope from the intruder's grasp. It slid across the wooden floor and stopped at Jenna's feet. The intruder lunged, but Max intercepted swiftly, forcing them to retreat. The tension was unbearable, each second stretching as the family realized the envelope might contain answers or ignite a new threat. Jenna picked up the envelope with trembling hands, Max at her side, teeth visible and alert. The rustling of paper inside was louder now, almost like it had a voice. She glanced at Tom, who shook his head in disbelief. Max had led them to the truth, but the reality of what they had uncovered was still hidden, waiting to reveal itself. Suddenly, the intruder made a desperate move, reaching for a loose floorboard nearby. Max reacted instantly, blocking the attempt, growl sharp and warning. The envelope slipped open just enough for a corner of paper to peek out. Even a glance at it was enough to shock Jenna. Detailed notes, photographs, and lists that implicated someone they never suspected in illegal activity. Max barked once sharply, pacing between the intruder and the envelope, ensuring no one could interfere. The intruder froze, realizing they had been outmaneuvered by a dog. Jenna and Tom exchanged a glance. They understood that Max hadn't just saved the raccoon. He had intercepted evidence that could change everything about the neighborhood, exposing a web of secrets hidden in plain sight. As sirens approached, the intruder finally backed away, leaving the envelope and retreating into the night. Max stood over the raccoon and the evidence, vigilant, unwavering. Jenna knelt beside him, brushing her hand over his head. The night's chaos had revealed danger, courage, and truth, but the questions remained: who had orchestrated this, and what would happen next? With Max guarding both the innocent creature and the envelope, the family finally felt a fragile sense of security. The attic, once silent and foreboding, held more than just shadows. It held the proof of unseen crimes, and the bravery of a dog who had turned a terrifying night into a revelation that no one would forget. Every creak of the house reminded them that danger could return, but Max would always be ready. If you want to see more incredible moments of courage and surprise like Max's, don't forget to subscribe and join our pack for the next adventure.